Hello and welcome back to Aston Martin's journey through F1 Manager 2022. We're here in Australia. We've been through Bahrain and Jeddah. The Jeddah race will be linked down below in the description. As always, all previous episodes will be linked in the subsequent one. The playlist, I'll pop down there as well, actually, probably just so you can get caught fully up. I am now a little bit ahead on Twitch than I am on YouTube, so if you do hop on over, I will be live on the day this goes live at 4 PM after the Belgian GP. Provided, of course, the Belgian GP ends at 4 PM. If there's any delays, then I'll just go live as soon as it's over, effectively. So, without any further ado, let's get into Australia and looking what we've got. 58 laps of the Albert Park circuit await us. The first time that Formula One has returned there for 2 years, 3 years at this point, 2 years off. Looks like it's going to be a rainy Friday and only 11 degrees. Wow, that's vastly dramatic, but a very sunny Saturday and Sunday ahead of us. So dry race, dry qualifying. Wet practice seems to be the general gist of things there. Of course, this is the now reprofiled Albert Park, where Sector 2 is a little smoother overall, and therefore it now favours high speed, which we absolutely don't have. We don't have any speed. And the suggestions are medium hard, hard medium, or medium hard medium. No softs in sight. So use as much of those as we can during qualifying, because you might as well. As the softs only last 11 to 15 laps, mediums 21 to 29, hards 29 to 40. Well, we've got 11 days to get through, and there's a few bits and pieces that are going to pop in through here. We're going to get a couple of facility upgrades and our scout reports. Well, the team hub is in. That is more experience gain for our staff members. As you can see here, staff members up to 40%. Slightly more monthly upkeep and more team attractiveness, which should hopefully make it a little bit easier to get in. With a low number of our manufactured AM21 design, it's currently fitted to car 1, and if we have an unlucky race, we might be forced to buy an emergency placement. I forgot to manufacture any of these. Our slightly better suspensions. We're only going to have that on one car again by the looks of things, but everything needs improving, Ian. Everything needs improving. We've got a decent cash flow, as our memorabilia room has now been added as well, which will hopefully improve our morale. Sebastian is now high again. Now we can try to renew him once more. He didn't like the bonus last time we asked, but we'll try 12th. Everything else was fine. Still declined, even though 12th is achievable. What? I don't understand. I don't understand how these work, quite frankly, because he thinks that's achievable and everything else is happy and yet declined. 1 neutral response, 5 positives. Do they all need to be positive, or is there another stage above positive that we can maybe boost, say, salary or lump sum bonus, for instance, that he's going to be super happy with? No idea. And now has no patience again, but we should... That keeps going back and forth. I don't want him to have a bonus at 13th or lower, just because it's sort of vaguely doable, definitely by the end of the year. And if we improve as a team, then he's going to be getting that every race. The memorabilia room is in, team attractive is up, morale is up as a result. No real need to do anything with the room yet. Yeah, so we'll get one piece. So Coldwell's contract is up at the end of the year. Got average growth potential, but high aggression. I wonder how far that will take him. We did the full reports on these, so we can see their full contracts. Lando does indeed have 4 years and it would require 18 million to break his contract, so that's not happening anytime soon. But nice to have him scouted. And most importantly now, we will scout the replacement pairings. Again, we'll do 30 days to get their full understandings. You know what, actually, what I'm going to do is just scout the best on both. Because firing both of those are not huge. It's only 1 million to break one of them and 2 million to break the other. So, preview. Carlos Sainz, having won the first 2, leads the way. Max second in the first 2. But we're here practice sessions and we need to prepare for these. There's no reason to review anything on these because I do not think any of this will have changed. Qualifying position 15th, so that's effectively reached Q2 as well. Not a lot I can do about that. There's no chance in hell we reach Q2 because we are still terrible. I do need to make sure I pop that one suspension that we did get back on Seb's car.
Welcome to Melbourne for a weekend of fierce competition. We're a stone's throw from the beach here at the Albert Park circuit. It might be party mood in the grandstands, but in the paddock, expectations and tensions are high. The Albert Park circuit is bursting with rapid corners and a long straight where drivers can push their speed to the limits. Good attention to medium speed downforce will likely make beating this beast of a track just a little bit easier.
Alright, so as always, the YouTube video just pauses here. We'll rejoin things at the end of practice ready for qualifying. So, fingers crossed, no disasters in practice. Until then, see you in a moment. Once again, forgot to show you the actual practice results. Vettel, I think, actually does have a confidence set up slightly higher than 92%, but I don't think it's going to change this off being 14 out of 15. Both of them, neither of them got 100% track acclimatization this time. That might have been because Stroll had an incident. He appears to have taken Latifi out of practice 1 at some point. We didn't see it, so I have no idea exactly what happened, but he does have a penalty for qualifying, so he's very much likely going to be back at the grid. Speaking of qualifying, there it is, confirmation. We'll just wait a few seconds before we send Stroll out, now. And then we wait for the next car to come out, whoever that may be. There isn't one. We'll send Vettel out. Did anyone else come out? The track is 48 degrees. That feels hot. The air temperature is 31. As they're just rolling around, I will just say one thing we have learned during practice, and that is an understanding of rain levels. Because we had a wet practice 2, the game kept pausing when the level of water on the track was 4 millimeters. And after a couple of times of it doing this, I realized, because there was no prompts whatsoever, I realized that is the cutoff between intermediates and wets, it seems. Because when the track was over 4 millimeters, cars went out on wets. When the track was under 4 millimeters, cars went out on intermediates. So I think that's the cutoff, and it's worth paying attention to going forward. It might be different from track to track. A few other cars have started coming out now. Wow. Typically one comes out sort of within the first 15 seconds. We've sort of paused a little bit, and the cars come out with us. This is the first time that's not happened. But we'll go on board with Stroll as he goes around the final corner. We'll give him a tiny bit of love and have focus on him for his first flying lap. No one's come out of the pit lane to block him, so he's got a nice clean track, actually. Someone's come out of the pit lane to block Seb. Is it Danny Rick? Is it going to be Danny Rick? It's one of the McLarens, but we're not going to focus on him right now. Hopefully, Seb gets him on this straight that Lance has just come off of through the car park, as I believe that is what that is, around the next corner and heading towards the new reprofiled section of the track. Does look like Seb may have caught the McLaren at an awkward moment, although he's ahead of him now, so maybe he got away with it. Down the new long bendy straight, I was going to say. It's not a straight then, is it? You know what I mean. The long flowing section through the chicane. A lot smoother than I ever do it on F1 22. And down into the final section, the right-hander, the 90-degree, if not more, right-hander. Then the slightly less, but almost right-hander that follows it. Another tight one here as we go left into the final chicane. I think this is effectively, it's a long chicane, but it's a chicane nonetheless, I think. And onto the main straight for the line's further than I thought it was. 121 flat, pretty much. And Vettel behind, with traffic maybe, fractionally slower. Okay, so we're going to have to work with Vettel here, get him a little bit more optimal later on. So the concerning thing here, as everyone has done their full times, is we are only really probably ahead of the Williams. Verstappen, Russell, Alonso clearly have been held up. Only 2/10 off Danny Rick and Gasly, though, who may have been held up. He's usually a bit better. A little bit off Sonoda. So trying to work out when to send people out now is somewhat awkward. I might try and get us at the back of the queue this time. We know Vettel typically has a little bit more in pocket over Stroll on a clean lap. Stroll with a penalty as well, so he will be at the back unless he clears a third vehicle. Cars are starting to come out. It's 2 minutes 40 on the clock. It's 1 minute 20 for a lap. So cars start typically coming out double the lap time. There's the AlphaTauri and a Red Bull towards the back. Still got a Mercedes in the... There's the other AlphaTauri. I'm going to send Stroll out now and get Vettel in behind him. As soon as Stroll comes out, Vettel's coming out to try and maybe get on the back of him. So Stroll was actually held up there. Oh, we've still got cars behind us. That's unfortunate. The Alfa Romeos and one of the Haas are actually still behind us. I thought we'd actually got on the back of the train. At the very least, Stroll is going to help maybe tow Vettel here. If maybe Vettel can get a little bit of a hurry on here and get a little bit closer, that would be nice. I think there's a nice enough distance to the Alfa Romeos where that's not going to become an issue in its own right. Because Bottas is quite speedy here, so... Well, Bottas is quite speedy in general at the beginning of the careers, it seems. Is it Bottas that's directly behind? No, I think he is... It's shown behind us, so back on Vettel's viewpoint. As we go through the last few corners, we will take the flying lap of Vettel as he enters the last chicane. I wish I remembered the turn numbers. That's my bad. But round the final corner and onto the main straight again to start his final flying lap. Now, we're expecting an improvement from Vettel here. We're on board with Vettel. Stroll's ahead of us, so he will get his time on the board marginally before. In fact, a gap has brought Vettel's peeled off the back of Stroll for some reason. Don't really know why, but he has. But through the car park chicane, I don't really know if any of these counter chicanes, but, you know, a quick 1-2. Everyone got across the line in time. The Haas actually peeled off the back of the Alfa Romeo, so maybe Haas's performance isn't quite up to the Alfa Romeos, or maybe they just deliberately held back. But Norris is first across the line, along with Leclerc, who takes pole provisionally. It looks like one of the Red Bulls got stuck on a Williams. Perez on Latifi. As Russell also got stuck on the back of Albon. That's why I didn't send him out in the pack. Verstappen goes second. So it looks like the first four has been settled already, unless Bottas can do anything wild behind us. I say the first four will be settled. This isn't the end of qualifying. You know what I mean? Zhou's on the borderline. Mick Schumacher right behind. Stroll does not improve. He doesn't even get past Albon. Vettel does get past Albon. And Mick does improve, but not enough. So Mick is 16th. And my dreams that we were anywhere near the pace of anyone else, that wasn't Williams, have been well and truly dashed. So Stroll to the back. Doesn't really matter if he finished 18th or 19th actually there. But good for Albon's morale that he got there on merit, seemingly. Not by much. 4 tenths off Mick, who clearly has a better car, because he's been done dirty with his rating. Although Magnussen was only 3 tenths faster, so it seems like the McLarens are 120s, Haas is 120.1, the Alfa Romeo around the same ballpark, Gasly's 199, Tsunoda's 120.2 effectively. So yeah, they're sort of all average around 120 a lap on qualifying there. Mick and the Haas probably a little bit off the pace, but of those ones, the Alpha's still obviously a lot faster, particularly in the hands of Bottas, who is insane at the beginning of the season. So, Seb 17th, Stroll from the back of the grid.
Tension continues to build here as race day begins.
Aston Martin were on target for qualifying. Now it's up to them to defy expectations for the race itself. And the sun is shining bright here today. This is perfect weather for teams and drivers alike to show us what they're capable of.
In any case, Melbourne is ready, and so are we. So strap yourselves in for the Australian Grand Prix.
Why is Seb using his 92% confidence setup? Not his 97%. Oh well, it doesn't affect his overall rating. I think it's still 14 out of 15 either way. Let's do his race strategy. A little bit of chance of rain towards the end, but it looks like it's clear skies all day. So medium to hard for Seb, I think seems sensible. Looks like if he sort of maintains that, I might just... Oh, he's going to get lapped, so actually I might leave that as is. And if he has to nurse the hards, then he can do. But yeah, just go on that one, Seb. And we'll do the reverse with Lance, who's starting at the back, who's going to pit a lot later on. So we'll split the setups, because starting at the back, he's going to get held up behind the Williams regardless, and make him go a bit deeper. If he can get past the Williams and then sort of hold them up a bit, sure. We should have enough pace. We should have enough pace to do that. It's race day.
It's sunny and bright as the drivers line up on the grid. There's Sebastian Vettel. With their starting position in the back 10, they'll have their work cut out for them. There's Lance Stroll down the grid. They're starting in the bottom half of the grid today, so there's a lot of cars between them and the podium. Get ready for the Australian Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
Away we go indeed. Once again, just keeping myself out of the picture in case there's any screenshot-worthy stuff at the beginning of the race. You'll see my face shortly, but round the first corner, I'd forgotten to tell them to go on aggressive. That's my bad, but Stroll has already taken Latifi, because of course he has. Into the new Sector 2 we go. 17th and 19th. Stroll on the back of Albon, who is not keeping pace with Vettel even on lap 1. Vettel is staying on the back of Mick Schumacher at least. I think Lance is going to get Albon maybe into the corner. No. Maybe on the next main straight. But Tsunoda already struggling to stay onto Ocon, so if this does become a bit of a DRS train in a couple of laps' time, Tsunoda might be the head of that queue. Gasly's up to 4th, meanwhile. Once again, did not pay attention to the top 10 going into the race. But it's Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz, Gasly in 4th, Perez, Hamilton, Russell, Alonso, Bottas and Zhou rounding out the top 10. As Vettel is still on the back of Mick Schumacher, Stroll is still on the back of Albon. Mentor and mentee once again fighting it out. Stroll has taken Albon on the background. I wasn't paying attention. I do apologise. In fact, we can watch it I wasn't fast enough. Well, it's just us overtaking a Williams. We're focused on Seb trying to get Mick. We'll go on board on the sweeping curves of the back. It's not a straight. I want to call it a straight, but it's not a straight. Latifi's already lost DRS on Albon before DRS is even activated. Latifi, good lord. Stroll's within half a second, but not really. I don't know what to do with Stroll here because I want to tell them not to fight, of course. We'll just stick them on neutral as well so they don't actually lose their entire battery. We just don't have the pace, even on hards, to get past Mick Schumacher with the... Or DRS isn't actually activated, I just realised. It was activated at the beginning of this lap, so it will not be in effect until... Well, till we get back around to the main straight, because I think the only DRS section is the main straight and the subsequent straight, and it has the same detection point, if I remember rightly. I'm not going to tell Stroll not to fight Vettel because he should be slower anyway, because, of course, he's on hard tyres, Vettel's on medium, so he should, in theory, be a fraction slower anyway. And yeah, Tsunoda has indeed fallen off the back of Ocon, so the train begins with Tsunoda in 12th. And of course, there's a new train with Gasly in 4th. But Verstappen's on the back of Leclerc. They may be trading places. There's a DRS straight here as well. I've just been made aware of that by the fact the DRS flap has opened on Mick Schumacher. But of course, we've all got DRS, so that is of zero benefit to Vettel here. Albon has fallen out of DRS of Stroll anyway, so it looks like the Williams are going to be well back. The fact that Stroll had that 3-place penalty, irrelevant for the race, it seems. But everyone's got DRS here. Everyone's getting out of the dirty air on everyone else. So we're all over the place on the main straight, and status quo remains. Although Magnussen has cleared Tsunoda, whether or not he can pull out a second gap here, different question. Of course, there is double DRS, so Tsunoda is actually sitting duck for Ricciardo as well, although he did get him back again, but might put Tsunoda/Ricciardo out of DRS range on Magnussen, and indeed it has, which might allow Magnussen to run free. That double DRS zone might actually help break DRS trains up a little bit, just by providing that double dose. It allows people to pull away that little bit more. Will not Ricciardo gets within range of Magnussen here. He's on the edge. The detection point is here, though, I believe. So he won't have got it, even though he's now within a second. But Tsunoda will have it on Ricciardo. Norris will have it. Mick Schumacher will have it. Vettel will have it. Stroll will have it. Actually, Ricciardo did close up. He may have just nicked DRS on Magnussen there. We're just watching this all from the perspective of Vettel, of course. Let's go to the head of this queue, which is Magnussen. You can see the other DRS queue up ahead. As Perez and Russell have now cleared Gasly, you can see that double DRS. Gasly was ahead of them before DRS, and he is now a full 5 seconds behind both Perez and Russell in combination. But Ricciardo has cleared Tsunoda. Ricciardo's now on the back of Magnussen, who doesn't have DRS either. Russell will probably clear Gasly on the other side. Looks like Gasly actually got Russell back, I just realised. Gasly quite punchy in these early races. We're not really in a position to harvest in this train. We have to keep pushing to stay in this DRS train. As soon as I tell them not to push, we're in trouble. I will tell them to be careful on the tyres, though. We're going to have to push on fuel, because otherwise we're going to fall out of the DRS train on Mick. The longer we have this DRS, the better. We'll be lapped, so actually being minus a lap isn't a problem. I'm going to have to tell Stroll to back off. He's 3.5 laps down.
Yeah.
Within 6 laps, he's 3 laps down. I'll tell Vettel to go to balanced on -3 laps for himself. He's almost out of DRS anyway. I swear Aston were more competitive than this in real life. As this lot still fight each other. We'll just watch Stroll go around that corner. Someone's locked up. Someone further up has locked up. No, it isn't. It's one of the Williams behind. It was Albon.
Is that a lockup?
We won't bother watching it because it's just one of the Williams. But Latifi is a full 7 seconds behind Stroll even now, so we do need to check tyres. So Albon was on the mediums, Latifi was on the hards. We pushed the mediums a little bit harder than everyone else in this early race, and as soon as we are -3 laps, we bring that back. And now he's within a second, so Vettel fell out of DRS, although he's back in DRS range here, so he might be okay, he's got it. But it was just concerning me that Vettel was falling out of the DRS range there on the back straight, so we will tell Stroll not to fight anymore. This DRS train continues with Tsunoda as the lead now. Tsunoda has recaptured 12th from Magnussen. Tsunoda, Magnussen and Ricciardo just trading places, and that from Norris has never moved from 15th, I don't think. Nor has Mick moved from 16th. Meanwhile, further ahead, Russell is finding it very hard to get past Gasly somehow. Shades of Hamilton and Imola there, as a Mercedes is just enjoying the rear view of an AlphaTauri. In fact, we can enjoy that view on board if we wish. There we go. There's the view that Hamilton enjoyed for so long in Italy. Well, there's Hamilton on the left. I believe you watch this fight. Hamilton's got the inside line going into this corner. And will George have enough of a wheel in to regain that? He will. And with DRS, he'll have the run on Gasly as well. How on earth is this Mercedes not able to get past without... There's no DRS on that thing. No DRS on the AlphaTauri, and yet Russell cannot make headway at all. Can on that straight. Why couldn't on the main one? He must have been slightly compromised getting onto the main straight. Meanwhile, Magnus has recleared to Tsunoda, and Ricciardo gets close to him, but not past him. Vettel, even on medium now, is still fine. So we needn't to worry about pushing there. We needn't to worry too much. Sainz has got in DRS range with Verstappen as well, and they're fighting for the front three. In fact, that looks quite interesting as they head towards the main straight. It's two Ferraris and a Red Bull, as it has been all season, but Leclerc is leading for a change. Someone just spun. It's Perez. Trying to get on hold of Perez.
Yellow exit of 6.
He is stuck. He is stuck. Everyone's gone past him. Perez has done a Russell, and the replay didn't show us anything. We didn't see the replay, but Perez has done a Russell, so he's got to climb his way back through now. He'll easily get us, probably. We saw in Bahrain that Russell had an issue with the McLarens. That pace differential, even with DRS, wasn't enough, but the Red Bull is that little bit faster than the McLaren, so it'll be intriguing to see how well Perez recovers here. But there's still 3 seconds from before he even gets on the back of Stroll, so we'll just return to Vettel's view. We'll watch it from this angle, shall we? Or briefly, from this angle, which I'm sure some people enjoy, but I don't really see the huge point of it. This is almost driver's eye view, as we say hi to Haas there. Wow. The closing speed on Mick was quite dramatic as we round the final corners again, and at least we're enjoying the DRS train today. We very much fell off the back of that in Jeddah. Today we're keeping pace, even on standard pace and medium, even with Stroll on Haas as well. We're just holding on, but Perez is gaining by, well, it's half a second a lap, it seems. I daren't go faster just in case something happens in this lot, but it seems to be a relatively powerful DRS train here, where we've broken into 2 DRS trains. Hamilton leads the other one from Gasly, Russell on the back of Gasly. Whether or not he can do anything about that now, Hamilton's clear. Gasly 7/10 off Hamilton. We'll just watch his progress on this DRS straight. You'll have DRS on Hamilton, but everyone will have DRS on him. It does get him quite close to Hamilton, so Gasly might be able to make a move on the double DRS, because Hamilton won't have that benefit. So whether or not Russell could do anything on Gasly before Gasly could do anything on Hamilton. Can the Mercedes teammates help each other out here? Because Gasly's got to defend from Hamilton. Nope, Gasly just goes straight past Hamilton. I meant from Russell. But then Hamilton might get swallowed up by Russell on this straight. With no DRS, the Mercedes teammates might just swap places. And indeed they do. Briefly, at least. Yep, Russell's still ahead. Meanwhile, Tsunoda's at the back of head of RQ from Magnussen, and Perez has joined our party. How long before Perez gets past Lance Stroll? Perez is mediums, and he does it in a very unconventional spot. Perez has just ruined Stroll's race. He's compromised his entry to this long stretch, and he's outside of a second. Perez has ruined Stroll's race here, and he's about to ruin Vettel's as well, I think. Because I think Perez might make the move here. No, he hasn't made the move here. As long as Perez makes the move on the main straight, we're okay. Someone's just locked up elsewhere. Who's locked up? It's not Stroll, is it? Alonso has. This is probably about time to be looking at this, but standard F1 rules. Oh, he's gone straight on in the final chicane. Is he going to lose more time, or has he actually recovered? He's actually recovered, okay. So Alonso down to 10th, and out of that DRS train. Zhou's out of the DRS train as well, 1.2 seconds. He might have been compromised by Alonso going off. But Perez all over the back of Vettel. I might need you to push. Sector 3's had an incident. Might be one of the Williams, who were a fair bit behind. Oh, Tsunoda!
Here's the replay.
That's not Sector 3 then, is it? Turn 2.
Focus on Tsunoda.
He goes straight on before the car park and into that gravel trap. This is a miracle he got out. Did he get out? Yeah, he did get out. He's got going again, and he's behind Stroll, 2 seconds behind Stroll. That could be a saving grace for Stroll, actually, because if Tsunoda closes up to the back of Stroll, passes him, and then Stroll gets his DRS. But Vettel just fell out of the second window, but he did still stay in it before the detection line, it seems. So he'll close up to the back of Mick on this straight. But not enough, it seems. He's having to defend too hard from Sergio, and that has just pushed Vettel outside of the 1 second window for this corner, this detection line, And we're... Oh, actually, no. Behind... He'll get it off Perez. Vettel will get the DRS off Perez on this straight. And I don't think Perez was within a second of the car in front, so Perez is having trouble getting past Vettel. Right, Lance, how are your tyres doing? Not great. Right, you're out of that, so just harvest. Look, Hamilton... Oh, he's pitted. I thought he'd had an incident. I just remembered he pitted. Why is he pit so early? Is he doing medium, soft, medium? Are there people doing 2 stops? Medium, hard, medium, sorry. Because medium, hard, medium was a option on the strategy list, so is Hamilton doing medium, hard, medium? And if so, why? But let him pull you along and hopefully we'll get back onto the back of Vettel in the process. Sergio is doing a very unsmart race here because he gets past Vettel here, not within range of DRS of the cars in front, and then Vettel just claws him back in on the main straight and the subsequent straight that follows it. Remarkably, we have enough pace with DRS to take the Red Bull. But somehow we managed to struggle to get past the Haas in Bahrain. Work that out. I don't know what's going on. I mean, at the very least, we're ruining Perez's race, which I don't really appreciate because I quite like Perez in general. Right, that's him harvested, pretty much. That'll do us for now. I almost want to tell Vettel to harvest because he's ruining our race as well.
We just need to charge up.
Yeah.
I want him to not try and get him back, if possible. I want him to utilise that DRS as much as possible. Verstappen's pitting. Is he doing medium, hard, medium? Perez is behind on this straight, so that's that done then, finally. Meanwhile, it does look like... Why is this... The intervals went weird there, for some reason. And he's out of DRS immediately on Perez, after 1 straight. So that's Vettel out of any DRS train, and his entire race ruined now. I wish there was a way just to say, let him through. But there isn't. Okay, so a bunch of people are pitting on lap 16. Are people doing medium, soft, medium, hard, medium? We might be within a shout on a 1-stop here, because we're currently up to 9th. I mean, they're going to have much fresher tyres over the course of the race, but we're up to 9th and 12th. Hamilton's on the back of Stroll, but yeah, that's just going to be a moment, isn't it? In fact, Stroll came out, I think, in DRS of Russell. There's my thumbnail. There's my clickbait thumbnail. Fighting Mercedes. Yeah, for like 1 lap. The interval's broken again. He's outside of DRS on Russell, I think, so sitting duck. Oh no, he did get DRS. No, he didn't. Remarkably, he stayed ahead of Hamilton. He'll get him here, though. Nope, he did not. Hamilton can't get past Stroll. How? Are we in this race? Do we have a chance? Because Vettel's got another 24% on his tyres, Stroll's got another 36 on his before they swap over. This is remarkable. It does look like Perez is 1-stopping, though. So despite his incident, still on 58%, he's not pit. So it looks like Leclerc, Bottas, Alonso, Ricciardo, Perez and ourselves are going medium to hard, and that is that. Hamilton has clear Stroll, but now he's got DRS on Hamilton, and Hamilton does not have DRS on Russell. So whether or not Stroll can get any inroads on this straight and make a move, he, well, can, actually, remarkably. But he'll be squeezed to the outside on the left-hander, and that is positions maintained. I'm not going to tell him to use overtake because they're Mercedes. But I believe everyone behind Stroll now still has a pit to make. Because everyone is pitted from Russell downwards apart from Stroll and maybe the Williams. Albon pitted, Latifi didn't. It looks like Albon did get past Latifi and then pitted because he's only 15 seconds behind again. So his earlier woes, Albon, he did recover at least Latifi and prevented that particular disappointment. But Stroll's still in DRS of Hamilton, remarkably. But Vettel has Tsunoda for company. Vettel had Tsunoda for company. Russell also just took Vettel because I think Russell must have had DRS on Tsunoda. No, I wanted to see who went wide. I have no idea who went wide. Could have been no. I can't tell who's gone wide there. The fascinating thing is, Ocon is closing on Stroll, but it was only about 2/10 on the last lap. So it's going to take him a couple of laps to get on the back of Stroll. In fact, I think it was probably Vettel that triggered the yellow flag because he lost so much time being double overtaken. It was Vettel himself who went wide. Oh well. At the very least, that's brought Stroll onto the back of Vettel, who still has don't fight teammate, I just realised. So let him by, let him by. I'll let him do it. I'll let him do it at this point because Stroll's going deeper. Probably actually better Can we do 38 laps on the medium hards? I do not think so, because it's barely going to get to the end of the race as is. We can actually afford to push a little bit, I think. The double DRS zone with Vettel on Stroll here could be a problem. In fact, I think I'm just going to say leave that off and let them fight each other, because they're just going to keep swapping places and give DRS to each other. The fact there's a double DRS zone is a problem, because if you tell one to not overtake, it's just going to bunch the cars up behind. And now we have Ocon for company behind, I've just noticed. Already. Just realised he was on overtake this entire time. So it's not really fighting, because they just sweep by each other, so it's not really compromising each other's races at this point. Ocon on Stroll could compromise Stroll, but didn't quite catch him by the looks of things. Hamilton on Tsunoda could maybe push Tsunoda back into our grasp. But I'm actually going to tell Vettel to push a little bit, because he was outdoing his prediction. And I'm going to tell him to push on fuel as well. These few laps before the pit, we're just going to push Vettel that little bit more, in the hope, at the very least, he doesn't drop Stroll, but it helps Stroll not immediately overtake, because Stroll will get overtaken by Ocon if he bails. The good news is Joe Norris Gasly are not catching, and Gasly's had a mare as well. I don't know if he went wide at any point on top of his pit stop, but he's now behind both Joe and Norris. Yeah, Stroll just waltzes past on this straight, along with Ocon. At the very least, we're getting more overtakes done. There's a chance, of course, the next time we go round that Ocon clears Stroll, and then we clear Stroll as well, in a sort of a double overtake again, just like they did on Vettel here. There's also a chance that Ocon gets by Stroll before any other DRS zones, because it's looking quite tight from this angle. Leclerc's in the pit on lap 23. That feels early for the medium runners. Vettel's still got 41%, but they have gone on hard, so they're going to be nursing them to the end, perhaps. Ocon, foolishly, has overtaken Stroll before the DRS detection line here, which means he's going to have 0 DRS on the main straight. So we're going a little bit deeper on Vettel's mediums than everyone else, it seems, which means everyone else is going to go hard to the end. Ignore, because Vettel's still got 40% on his tyres. Use your ERS on the straight, Lance.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, do overtake.
Use overtake.
Get Alonso, not the other way around. Alonso has just ruined Ocon here, because he's put Stroll into a DRS range. Alonso himself isn't in Tsunoda's range either. It's close, but he's just not. Oh, Stroll fell out of Alonso's range on the straight. Well, never mind. They might close up on the section 3 though. Vettel to Ocon, maintaining. Ocon, is he going to try and overtake before the last sector this time? No, he stayed behind this time. He's going to go try around the outside of the right-hander. Stays behind. Ocon has DRS. Ocon has DRS and has actually passed Lance by the time we get to the main straight, pretty much. What? Neither of them have DRS. What's happened here? There's a Zhou as well, just for... Why do neither of them have DRS? Ocon did have DRS, but it didn't open on the main straight for whatever reason. Zhou just came from nowhere. I'm going to push these mediums as long as possible, just so we have the hards not being an issue at all. Continuing to push. He's harvesting still, I've just realised. Deploy on this lap. Just full deploy. Actually, it might be just worth slapping that on overtake rather than deploy. Use it in sensible places. Stroll, use it in defensive places. So I think we'll get one more lap out of L here. Is Stroll... No, Stroll did not get into Ocon's DRS range, which is a shame for Stroll, because he's a sitting duck now. But in the middle of this exciting action, let's prepare the pit stop for Vettel. It's just a case of popping on our tyres, and that is all.
Take your time. Good.
So Zhou will get Stroll here, maybe? Stroll's got the inside line. Nope, never mind. Stroll lets Zhou by, unfortunately. There will be a minor problem on the remaining Sector 3 DRS zone, because Vettel could have a go at Stroll into that final sector, but he will, of course, then peel into the pit lane, so that might be a bit of wasted effort on Vettel's front if he does try something, because Norris is closing up on the back of this fight as well, with Gasly and Ricciardo for company, because they're in their own little mini DRS train. Magnussen is a little detached from them. These are all for position though, of course, because everyone's only got one pit stop left. That's how well we do in the remainder of this race. So Vettel pits now. Will he have DRS
So use the pit limiter.
on the second section there? Because he would have been within range of Stroll's. But we'll watch this from Vettel's point of view. On go the hard tyres. It was a fairly slow stop, actually, 3 seconds. I think we had nice, comfortable range on either of the Williams, so we get out into nice, clean air. We'll stick on push. We'll pop on neutral, I think, for the ERS. Someone spun in Sector 3. What's happened there? I don't see any incidents. Side spin on turn 15. That was Sector 3. On the back of Verstappen, Sainz completely loses it. Thank you, Crofty. That was, yeah, what a spin. He actually stayed ahead of Leclerc, but he obviously fell off Verstappen in the process. So Verstappen has clean air with no one bothering him now anymore. Hamilton has Alonso for company. Ricciardo has Norris and Gasly for company. They're fighting with each other, so that might actually stall their progress onto the back of Stroll, who is not quite close enough to Zhou, unfortunately. He's still got plus laps, though, but we're telling Stroll to harvest at this point. We'll just tell Vettel to harvest for a couple of laps. While he's got clean air, he might as well do the harvesting. Stroll, what are you doing here, buddy? Oh, actually, it's not Stroll's fault.
More than one car.
We'll watch it
Let's take
again.
a look at the
Watching it from Stroll's perspective, it does look like he'd gone, never mind, we'll just go straight on here. But it was actually Norris's fault. Lando? There goes Stroll's race, though. He is now behind Magnussen. Still got to go deeper, but he's still got to make his pit stop. Everyone else has still got to make a pit stop. And everyone else is going on to mediums just like him. So Stroll has about 4 or 5 more laps on these hards before he switches to mediums for the remainder of the race. I've no idea when the other hard runners are going to switch to mediums again, because some of them are doing one-stoppers, clearly. Ricciardo is one-stopping, it seems. Perez is going to try and one-stop. Alonso Bottas are going to one-stop along with Leclerc, but they came in a couple of laps earlier than Vettel, so they might have bigger issues with tyre wear towards the end of the race, because Vettel, on the original prediction, was going to struggle, and they came in a few laps earlier. Mick Schumacher up in 7th currently. Is he one of the original hard runners who hasn't pitted yet? Yeah, he is. So Mick Schumacher, the best of the original hard runners. Tsunoda's in 11th, and we are in 17th with Stroll. There were only 3 that started on hards with Latifi, sorry. He started on hards too, but it's Latifi. It'd be nice if Stroll could get on the back of Magnussen here, but I don't think that's happening. I'm trying to know what Norris's penalty is, because it doesn't say. I'm not sure how I'd find out. That's the sort of thing that would be available to other teams, knowing what the penalty exactly is, so it probably is somewhere. Just don't know where. Stroll has... Oh no, Stroll has been warned of a pit window. What happened with his car? Front wing minor damage. Oh, am I going to have to change his wing? It wasn't terminal wing damage, so he just still seemed to be able to keep going. Just realised I was on the wrong car still. Can I see what is wrong with his car? Left, yes, left end plate. Which makes sense, because that's where he touched the wall, so that's where I was expecting the damage to be. We are now irritatingly running 17th and 18th. The important thing to pay attention to is the gap to Vettel and the cars ahead up to Zhou, really. And whether or not they'll be in a pit stop range. I don't think anyone except Magnussen is, unfortunately. So the one-stopper is still not really that helpful. 28 laps on the medium I don't think is quite possible, because Vettel did 26 and still roughly hit 30%. 28 laps actually might be doable, thinking about it. We could push Stroll a little bit here, because he is, what, 3 laps away? We won't push the tyres just yet, because he's got to do 3-4 laps and might lose about 3% a lap, so that will put him within range anyway. Try to see how much he loses per lap. I am conscious, actually, of where Stroll's going to come out. He didn't lose too much, actually, in that 1 lap. Is Sainz overpowered? Because Sainz and Verstappen have joined up again, and Sainz has got past Verstappen. It might have been pit stop based, but he was like 4 seconds behind. Is Sainz overpowered in this game? Because he's won the first 2 races and is now already ahead of Verstappen again. Where will Stroll come out? Just behind Latifi? How many more laps are we going to do with Stroll here? 37%? Maybe 2? Yeah, 2 full laps, I think. He's on 37%. Oh! Who's crashed? There's been a big issue in Sector 1. Stroll's just gone past the pit window. Fudge! Well, obviously, we're going to put him on mediums now. And I wonder, Vettel... Stroll just hits the safety car. Why is Stroll stuck behind the safety car? There we go. Vettel's tyres are on 86%. Do we just go for track position with that? Crucially as well, I didn't see the crash. There was no replay for the crash. But it was Hamilton and Alonso. Annoyingly, there was no replay for the crash, but Hamilton... Can't tell if he has damage or not. Yes, he's got damage. It was Hamilton and Alonso, clearly. Alonso's out. Hamilton involved. Norris has still got the penalty. Oh, no. I cannot pit Vettel, because if I pit Vettel, I end up behind. I will end up behind the safety... Oh, will I end up behind the safety car? But most importantly, I can't pit Vettel because Stroll is on top of him. Not very many people have pitted. Ricciardo, crucially, has not pitted out of 9th, who is on the same strategy as Vettel. I'll pop them on conserve. Drag this out as long as possible. Just conserve everything, and then we can just go push on fuel for the remainder of the race. I kind of forgot about that bit. Hamilton on fresh mediums, of course. Interestingly, the medium, hard, medium runners have not pitted. And most importantly, Stroll has not ended up behind the safety car, so he will just join the end of it, which means I think I can pit Vettel and not really lose out too much. Because he does have a second pair of mediums. I don't really see the reason not to. The lifetime on these hards is only 39 laps, and there are only 24 remaining, so there's no real harm in pitting Vettel here. Because he's not going to get on the back of the queue, regardless. The queue is fallen away over the course of the lap. He will end up behind Stroll, of course, but getting both our drivers on fresh mediums behind this safety car, worthwhile, a reasonable stop, actually. Where was that in the race? 2.8. So with one retirement, we do have an opportunity for 15th in. Now, of course, the main issue here is Hamilton, Bottas, Tsunoda all on fresh mediums as well. Yeah, we're just going to leave them on harvest because it's a safety car. Wait, why is it coming in?
Yeah, okay.
Why is it coming in without... What? Why is it not waiting for everyone?
Copy.
Well, it wouldn't have made a difference. Vettel wouldn't have gone on the back of him anyway. I have to deploy just to get vaguely in line with them. Why is this safety car ruined our chances? I mean, we're going to get within... We're within a pit stop of some people who might need to pit again. I am so confused with what's happened there. We can be a little aggressive with these. Well, that's ruined our race.
Got back a bit.
If I hadn't pit Vettel, he would have been on the back of that queue. Pretty much. Because there's about 14 seconds to the back of the queue, and a pit stop was 14 seconds. We are gaining just because everyone is fighting each other at this point. We are still gaining on them, so thankfully, that's a thing. It's going to ruin our tyre advantage that we had on the other people that pitted in there, but because Vettel had an extra lap less on his. Phrase that weirdly. But yeah, Vettel had one less lap, put in constant personal best, and we just go around with each other. Because DRS is still disabled, of course. Okay, after one lap, I think we're only 8 seconds behind now, so we did gain 15 seconds on that one lap, seemingly. So the good news is, whilst there's no DRS, we just continue to push here. We're not getting any closer now, though, which is a problem. Everyone's spread out. As soon as there's DRS, we are stuffed. And just to be kind to Vettel, who did have track position, I can push with Vettel a little bit more than I can Stroll. Actually, no, Stroll's okay. I'll push Stroll more towards the end. That's the first safety car we've seen, and we didn't really see it, because we never called up to it. Or what caused it. The replays sometimes are a bit janky when it comes to crashes, it seems. Unless you're involved with it, it doesn't really show you it half the time when it's a full-on crash. Who's locked up? Because the locking up could be massive at this point in time. It's midfield, whoever locked up? Ricardo. Verstappen's pitted. The medium-hard medium runners are pitting. Verstappen's gone first. Now, he was obviously far enough up that chain that it's not going to affect us, but stupidly, he's pitted now and come out in 13th. But ideally, if one or two of them come out ahead of us, we can get on the back of a DRS train here. We can keep pushing on fuel still as well. Vettel is only 6.9 seconds behind Ricardo, who doesn't have DRS than anyone. On fresher tyres, on fresher, better tyres as well, for that matter, we might be able to close the gap on Ricardo and get 15th by the end of this race. Now, our tyres are obviously going to wear faster than Ricardo's hards, and we got 15% better off at this stage. So by the end, it's probably going to be about the same. But, okay, so the other medium-hard runners are coming in now for the second mediums. And I don't know what that's going to do to the field. This is almost effectively like a second safety car for us, because it's going to bunch the field right back up, apart from the front two, who were not involved in our fight anyway. Norris versus Vettel. They're coming out of the pit lane, and we're on the main straight. Who are we ahead of or behind? There's an Alfa Romeo to our right. That is Zhou, but we're ahead of Norris and Magnussen. With Stroll just catching the back of them, so he'll get DRS till the next time we play with them. No DRS, of course, for Vettel at this point, because he wasn't behind anyone at the check line. And Stroll's locked up, so... Stroll's locked up fighting Magnussen, it seems, and has fallen 3 seconds off him. We'll watch Stroll being Stroll, trying to overtake Magnussen and cocking it up entirely. You wonder why I'm getting rid of Lance Stroll at the end of the year. I wish I'd kind of harvested a little bit with Vettel. Sainz is in the pit. Is anyone still medium hard? Maybe Albon, but yeah. No, the other three are just regular medium hard runners, which we were one of, but we decided to go for more medium tyres for the remainder of the race. So that ruins Sainz's chances of winning, I think, with 16 laps to go. Can never find interval. There we go. And Vettel has DRS on Zhou. Still got fuel in the tank. Still got tyres in the tank. They should have better mediums though, which is our only concern for the remainder of this race. But Vettel is up to P13. Stroll, though, unfortunately, Albon did need to pit, clearly. Stroll, unfortunately, though, in 17th, so our bonus, I think, only activates if both people are in the top 15. The streak one, though, which I haven't set for the race, I think might only need to be one person in the top 15. For qualifying, I don't know what the race one version is, but you don't need to be harvesting anymore, Stroll. In fact, deploy for a lap and then just go neutral. I wish you could view the highlights at the end of the race. Maybe there is a way of doing it, so we can find out what happened with the Hamilton and Alonso situation. Albon's ahead of him, threw me off. Yeah, so Vettel not doing enough to catch Gasly in any given lap. On track with tyres, so I might actually need to... He's got a little bit more in the tank though, tyre-wise, at the end. But they are slightly overheating, so we might just need to bring them down. Okay. Stick with the fuel. Maybe sit behind Zhou for a bit. If we can harvest for a lap. And if Zhou can get within a second of Gasly... Might need to go neutral here, just so we don't lose Zhou. And we've lost Zhou. How did we lose that much? I mean, that was just because double DRS more than anything. It was nothing that Vettel did. Okay, so Vettel's lost Zhou. 14th is still good going as things stand. Norris and Magnussen are behind and probably closing. Verstappen and Sainz are fighting out for 6th and 7th now. It's Leclerc, Perez, Hamilton, top 3. Bottas 4th. Mick is 5th on merit, I think. Yeah, just one pit stop to Bottas is 2. Bottas could be leading if he didn't do 2 pit stops. Bottas would be leading if he didn't do 2 pit stops. Actually, why did Bottas do 2 pit stops? I think Bottas did what we did. I think he went onto hards and then went onto mediums under the safety car. Because he's got exactly the same tyre wear as us, pretty much. And Mick and Hamilton are all pitted at the same time, but he's got an extra pit stop. So I think he used the safety car. So actually, no, he wouldn't be leading if he didn't pit because the others probably would have caught him on hard tyres at the restart. But nonetheless, I'm very surprised people aren't catching Ricciardo. All these medium runners are not getting into a train with Ricciardo. Surely he's catching. Yeah, Vettel's falling off. He's now got Norris behind him. No, got Norris ahead of him. Vettel can't do anything about the double DRS situations. Norris just went past him there and just immediately out of DRS range by the end of the second DRS straight. The differential on 2. Why is Bottas saying +0? Verstappen and Sainz have joined the Mick, Hamilton and Bottas party. I didn't realise they were so close to Hamilton as well. There is a 5-way fight for the 3rd podium place. Perez is well clear of Hamilton. So 1-2 looks like it's going to be Leclerc and Perez. Only 9 laps to go. 11 laps to go. I can count. But there is a 5-way fight for 3rd. Hamilton nice and clear view ahead. Oh God. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 just in the distance there. Russell has caught Ricciardo. Ocon did catch Ricciardo as well and passed him. As the remainder of this race just plays out. Oh, Magnussen just got Vettel there. Wasn't paying attention to that. It looks like we've got pace to stay with Magnussen. Because we've just traded places on the lap and Magnussen didn't get clear on the second DRS straight. Interestingly, we're not losing laps here. We're staying on push the entire time. We're not losing laps. But I think realistically, we're fighting Magnussen for 15th here. And that is all. Zhou's taking Gasly. Is Gasly on hards? No. I do wonder if Ricciardo is going to fall into anyone else's grasps as this race continues. Because Ricciardo's actually lost percentage. Oh, no, he hasn't. We're on 55. Yeah, that percentage gap between Ricciardo and ourselves has closed up. But he is still 20-odd% behind this lot, so I'm expecting them to all catch up. And that's also why there's a huge differential with the pace with them, because they've got 20% better tyres. But we've caught a back marker. We're going to lap someone. Entirely because of a safety car, but we're going to lap Albon, I believe. Oh no, we've already lapped Albon. That's Latifi. We've lapped both Williams. There's something for the trophy cabinet. We have lapped someone. Poor Williams, by the way. A full lap down because they were the only 2 lapped during the safety car. Or when the safety car happened. And it appears, just like F1 22, they can't unlap themselves, which is unfortunate, really. So it looks like safety cars need work. It's baffling that nobody can actually code safety cars properly. Because, well, at least Cody's safety cars allows everyone to get caught up before they come in, but doesn't allow lapped people to unlap themselves. It appears that neither Albon or Latifi managed to unlap themselves. So it looks like, I didn't pay attention to it fully, but it looks like if you're lapped when the safety car comes out, you stay lapped. Of all the things I thought Frontier were going to get right that Cody's haven't, I thought safety cars was going to be one of them, as we might actually get Magnussen on the second part of this straight with Vettel here. I think the one thing stopping any more progress on Ricciardo is Gasly fighting Zhou. But Hamilton Mick's down to 7th. Oh, it's all separated out. Still 7th isn't bad for Mick. I think it's his first points. Verstappen's 3rd. The 5-way fight has ended very quickly. Although the 5-way fight has ended with Sainz falling off. But 6 laps to go for the leaders. Still got plenty of fuel in the tank, seemingly. I don't know if I'm being lied to here. We've fallen out of DRS range of Magnussen in the meantime.
Overtake there.
So it looks like we are stuck with 16th, 17th. There's been another crash. There is a safety car there, but there's only 3 laps left. The crash is here. I can see it. Is there any chance this safety car actually comes in before the end of the race? We can double stack it because there's enough separating them. I mean, we've got nothing to lose, have we? Pause. At the very least, it saves the tyres. Watch the replay this time.
Here.
I mean, I'm trying to, Crofty. I'm trying to watch the Mercedes.
And there's the hit. And
Oh,
it's
there it is,
crystal clear
clearly.
Who was in the wrong there?
Right, there's a camera angle that needs fixing. Anyway, back on board with Vettel. Tsunoda's out. And it sounded like it was with the Mercedes, so it looks like it was Russell and Tsunoda. No one's been blamed for it. 16th, 17th becomes 15th, 16th at least. There is the safety car, which we are now... Actually, that's a good point. We were allowed past the safety car. I think you're allowed to pass it, provided the leaders haven't got there. Yeah, so we're allowed to pass it because the leaders haven't called it. But I think if you're behind the leader when the safety car is called... I'm fascinated to watch Latifi here. Latifi's gone... Sorry, Albon. Albon has gone past the safety car, along with Stroll. So yeah, we're all past the safety car. So as long as we... I'm not telling them to save the tyres this time because we might need to catch up. I'm going to harvest though. We might actually still need to catch up to this. Come on, lads. Let's get caught up. Do not save the tyres until you actually get caught up this time. I don't know. This might end up...
The safety car will be in this.
It's
lane.
happened
Safety
again!
car will be
We've
in
not
this
caught
lane.
up, but neither has Russell.
Push now.
There are 2 laps of actual racing remaining. We're on the lead lap still. Remarkably, we're only down to 87% soft tyres.
Copy.
Oh, we're not even caught the queue yet.
Make sure you get a good restart.
Yep.
Bloody engineer's trolling us now. We've not caught the train. Neither has Russell. Russell hasn't even caught the train yet. Vettel might just about catch Russell at least. But Russell probably went on softs as well. He did. His softs are worse. Oh, because he 3 sets of qualifying on
Last
them.
lap.
Is there any way... I mean, we didn't lose anything by pitting, I don't think. We would have still been ahead of Russell, but I don't think... We were still behind Magnussen when the safety car came out, so we only lost the position to Russell, who then went on soft tyres. So we might have stayed ahead of Russell, and that's about it. But Vettel's going to get 15th. I don't care the tyres are getting warm, Seb. You've got 1 lap. Never mind. There's no DRS for everyone else, so we should, in theory, be catching them, but we're not. I don't know how we're not getting closer.
Copy.
I mean, we are overall, I think, because Russell's gaining, and obviously we're maintaining to Russell. But importantly, though, Latifi still in the queue and Albon behind everyone, in fact. They weren't allowed to unlap themselves because the thing came in. In fact, Albon's about to let Stroll through again. Yeah, so we don't even catch Russell. Russell got within 3 seconds of Magnussen, and that was that.
Charles Leclerc is today's winner. Let's have a look. Charles Leclerc there.
I mean, that's a finish. Charles Leclerc, probably Perez, Verstappen. There was only 1 lap left. Mick, 6th? Did Mick get Bottas? I couldn't tell who was behind. I mean, bully for them. No, Mick was still 7th. And Stroll unnecessarily lapped Albon just before the finish line. Well, we may have lost 1 place to Russell because Russell didn't catch Magnussen. Stroll probably still had an issue regardless on catching up. We could have been 14th, 15th. We get 16th, 15th, 16th.
Vettel with a comfortable result for his team here.
I mean, comfortable.
Aston Martin had a good enough weekend, but there's still some margin for improvement here.
Yeah, we're only 15th because people retired.
The race
Fine
wrapped
tuning?
up, the team's ranked in 9th in the constructor standing.
We need a whole new
Now
car,
the teams will
Karoon.
be looking ahead to Imola, where the season progresses with the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Get ready for some fierce
Now, worth
competition.
noting, I don't think sprint weekends are in this game. So, regular weekend. But that's the first time I've seen retirements and 2 safety cars on a track that only had 50% safety cars in the last 4 races. Although, I don't know if that includes the 2 years that they didn't run or the 2 years prior. So, 2016 to 2019. But Lance Stroll up 4 past the Williams, and that was as far as he got. Seb up the 2 places due to the 2 retirements, and that is all. Mick Schumacher up 9 places and gets points for Haas. Magnussen doesn't. Only ourselves and Williams remain utterly pointless. Ricciardo only gains 1 more for McLaren though, so good. But Bottas gets a huge haul for Alfa Romeo again. And 6 for Haas is problematic for us too. But someone other than Carlos Sainz has won a race. Charles Leclerc, so still all Ferraris, but Perez 2nd with Verstappen 3rd. Leclerc on pole, Verstappen 3rd on the grid to start with by looks of things, with Sainz 2nd and Perez 4th to start off. Who was 5th? Was it Hamilton? Russell started 7th. Pierre Gasly started 5th, so that actually early high placing for him wasn't to do with a good start. He just qualified 5th somehow. Driver standings look like this, with Carlos Sainz getting 12 points, Max Verstappen getting 3rd, but a bonus point for best fastest lap. Charles Leclerc and him sharing 52 points. Perez on 45. Hamilton to Bottas in third. George Russell obviously didn't score there. Meanwhile, we remain 17th and 18th, but do bolster our best finish with 15th and 16th respectively. But along with Yuki Tsunoda, we are the only drivers with Williams not to score a point. And in the constructors, again, only Williams without a point as well. Haas leapfrog AlphaTauri with that, 6 points from Schumacher. Everyone else holding firm. A few more points for Vettel this weekend thanks to a few more overtakes, and good lord, Stroll got a ton of overtakes. Stroll got 10 failed defends. Good for him. Putting Stroll on hards first and then him falling backwards, hilariously, actually gets him more points because he has more failed defends. But 7 successful overtakes, 5 successful defends, and 4 failed overtakes. Meanwhile, Vettel had 13 failed defends, 6 failed overtakes, 4 successful defends, and 6 successful overtakes. A good race for him, all things considered. 400 points in that, but his modifier brings him down to 295. Stroll might have a bonus point to allocate now. Another nearly $4 million. We'll see if there's anything worth looking at after this race. Boardroom's been done. There's a regulation to do right now, actually. So, oh no, that is here. There it is. Minor technical. As you know, we may change the regulations to define Formula One's rules between seasons to make the sport fairer for competitors and more engaging for fans. With these goals in mind, we're proposing new minor technical regulations. Our data suggests it's become too easy to drivers to follow cars closely. Okay, so regardless, they're going to try and make it harder for us to follow each other. Simultaneously, that's worse for the fans, despite what they say there, but probably better for the game, because obviously we've seen DRS trains are a bit of an issue, so if it makes it harder for them to stick in DRS trains, I think cooling focus changes are going to be more beneficial, because that means you're going to run hotter in the dirty air. Right now, there's not really any point pressing the avoid dirty air button. So I think this is going to make it more tactical when you try to go for the overtake, whereas airflow focused ones just make it harder for you to be in the 1 second in the first place. Whereas this is going to make it not so bad to be in the 1 second just in terms of raw speed, but it's going to make your car run hotter by doing it. I wish I was a way of saying neither, but that improves our team attractiveness and race confidence gain, so they'll be less annoyed with me. We are disappointed the team performed below expectation. We weren't last, and we weren't second last, and we weren't third last, nor were we fourth last. That's because two people didn't finish. But we could have actually been ahead of someone that wasn't a Williams if we hadn't pitted, it seems. It feels weird being punished for taking a chance there at the end, but never mind, because we weren't allowed to catch up, and we could have caught up, because it didn't really matter. There was a sort of 2 racing laps or 1 racing lap. So that's actually come through immediately on that day. So our front wing will be completed tomorrow, but that will be in the next video. And it will also need to be manufactured before the Emilia-Romagna. So we will have a brand new part for Imola, provided we can manufacture, and provided the manufacturing time is also 5 days, like it is for the suspension. I might need to actually pause suspension development to bring the front wing in. We'll see. Well, that's it from Australia today. If you've liked the video, do give it the actual like and a subscribe click if you haven't done that before. Don't know why I refer to it as a subscribe click. You get what you get from me. Anyway, that's it from Australia. As I say, next time out, we're in Italy, we're at Imola, but no sprint race, I do not think. So, look forward to that. I'll see you for that. Until then, ta-ra.